Hello, hello, hello. My name is Ashley Brown, and I am a Central Florida realtor with La Rosa Realty downtown Orlando. And I have been in the game for 5 years. I've been in the real estate game for 5 years. So this week, we are going to talk about you want to become a real estate agent. So I get a lot of questions all the time about, what schools I went to and just, my advice or experience in the real estate game. It's going on 5 years. So here I am today to tell you my experience and what it is that you need to do if you want to become a real estate agent in Florida and kind of overall. But I'll go through some of the requirements and stuff as well for only Florida specific. All right, so I want to take a quick shout out. So last week, in case you missed that video, I will include that on here below for you to view. So I highlighted a local black business designer. It was Xline. So I had my beautiful, very quality, top of the line made jacket on last week's video. So make sure you check that out. So it was Xline denim. I'll include again their contact or their links below. So this week I'm highlighting another local black business fashion designer. So as of right now, I know that they have some beautiful handbags for both men and women. So I also know this designer as well. So I want to point out and highlight the Gevoti handbag. Can you guys see that? Move it back a little bit. And when I tell you this bag inside, red guts on the inside. And the packaging, I started to do like a unboxing whole thing, but I was just ready to open it. And the other thing too, which I love, was look at this strap. The strap is, can you see it? The strap, it is so nice. And the quality of it, the quality. So the quality of it is so nice. Let me just send it for you guys to see. Gevoti. So I also tag their contact information, website, and everything, things for you to order. But this bag, y'all, this bag, it is so cute. So cute. So you can wear it as a tote with your hand like this, or you can do a whole crossbody situation. Or you can do like this. So cute. So cute. Love the bag. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to go through is some of like the basic stuff. So again, this part of the video is going to be Florida specific. So if you're looking to become a real estate agent in the state of Florida, these are the requirements per the DBPR website. So I'll also link the website as well with the requirements. So the first requirement is you must be 18 years of age. So you must be 18 years old. The second thing is you must also have a valid social security number. So just verifying that you are a resident of the United States. You also must have a high school diploma. So for those of you that were kind of, unaware of what the education requirements are, you only need a high school diploma. They also require that you get 63 hours of education as far as like the courses that you'll need to take, and then there will be an end of course exam that you will need to pass, and then you will have a state test that you'll need to take as well with the state. It's normally through Pearson. I'm not sure how Pearson is doing it now. I know like with the pandemic, you were able to do it from home in some kind of way. They may be back to doing it in person. Of course, I got my license pre-pandemic, so I went in person to take it. You also would need to get fingerprinting and a background check done as well. So those are pretty much like the core requirements that you would need to become a real estate agent. So I will also link like I said, I'll link to DBPR where it lists the requirements where you can look on there to see additionally for each step what you'll need to do. Also, I get most common question I also get as well is what school do I recommend for real estate? And I went to Climbers. They offer online. I believe they also offer in person. They have a location. I believe that may be their main location in the Rosemont area. So off of Orange Blossom Trail. I'm in Orlando, so I'm referring to it in Orlando. I'm not sure of any other locations that they may have, but I'll link their website as well for Climbers below so that you can click on it to um, look and see if they're a good fit for you. So yeah, I recommended Climbers just because they did offer the online option. It was referred or recommended to me from another agent that was already actively working at the time. So they told me about Climbers. I did it online. Once you sign up for the class online, you do have, I want to say you have a year to complete the course to actually take the end of course exams, and then move forward to take your state test. So when I took my test at the time, I was still working. I was working as a substitute teacher. So I was a permanent substitute teacher at the time, and that's why I had to take it online. I couldn't go to the in person classes where you are able to go from like 9 to 5 or something like that. So it was really flexible for me to be able to go in person. I mean, online. It was very flexible for me to go online to take it. So I always recommend Climbers. It was very, very easy, very, kind of self-explanatory course. So this next tip, you didn't hear from me, but I did hear it from somebody else, and I also someone when I was at UCF, who was in one of our classes, somebody told me the same thing. So you didn't hear it from me, but one way to get an easier version of the state exam is to take it in Spanish. So you take it in Spanish and you hit the translado button once you get in, and it now converts it into English. Now you have an easier format of the test because there's only so many versions of it in Spanish that they're going to make, but there are tons of versions that they'll make in English. So if you have to retake the test multiple times, which by the way I did, I had to take the test 3 times. So each time I took the test, see, I'm a person, I like to go look at the test, see what's on it, and then I know how to study. I don't know how to study for something that I don't know what's on there. So I'd rather go, I'll take the test, I'll see what's on it, then I know what to study. So each time I would take it, as soon as I got in the car, I would write down everything that I just saw and go back and study those areas. And I would take it because you do have to wait. Each time you take it, if you don't pass, you have to wait 24 hours. This was the requirement then. It may have changed, I'm not sure. So you have to wait 24 hours. So throughout the 24-hour window I had to wait, I would, read up on everything that I wrote, that I saw in the test, and I would immediately schedule it again while the information was still fresh on my brain. So I did not let too much time go pass by between each time that I took it. So within like a week's time frame, I was able to pass the exam after 3 tries. So it may take you a couple of times. Some people are able to pass on the first try, take my hat off to them, but it may take a couple times. So that's just a little tip. Shh, don't tell me. All right. So can you do real estate part time? Good question. I would say initially starting out, first off, let's lay down some ground rules for real estate. Going into business as a real estate agent. It is commission based. So what that means is you don't if you do not sell a home, you do not get paid. Point blank. Period. You have some brokerages. There are some exceptions. You have some brokerages that are set up to kind of set you up on some type of pay scale or something like that. But majority of the brokerages are you're a 1099 employee, or you're basically 1099 contractor, should I say, not an employee. You're a 1099 contractor. So whatever you produce as far as selling homes determines your income. So that's one of the great things about getting into real estate is there is no ceiling. You can make 40,000 in a year. You can also make 40,000 in a month. So you get to determine how much money you make. So it can be a very lucrative career. However, you get into it what you put out. So it's definitely not the glitz and glamour that you see on these reality TV shows that you may see on Instagram. All you guys are seeing for the most part is you're seeing the end result. So very rarely are you seeing those months where, in the beginning until you kind of sort out um your pipeline or your flow of clients, there may be in the beginning some months where you don't make a sale. It took me maybe 10 months or so when I first got into the business for my very first sale. So it definitely takes some time. So you have to be prepared financially to get into this business. So sometimes if you don't already have the ability to have 6 months worth of expenses, basically whatever your monthly expenses are, 6 months of that already saved to go into this business full time, then you may need to start off part time. So part time may be an option. Now, once you start to see your business pick up, that is where you may then need to decide about transitioning out of being a part time agent to a full time agent. But it is definitely possible. You may need to utilize your resources as far as making sure you have a transaction coordinator that is able to get those contracts signed and make contact with the different parties in the transaction while you're working your 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, whatever your schedule is. You may also want to outsource having a showing assistant so that someone is able to show houses, especially the way the market is right now. If a house comes on the market, it doesn't take long for them to start, asking for highest and best, which highest and best means they're calling for your highest offer, your best offer by a certain time frame, and then the seller makes a decision. Or they may get what they want, a cash offer right out the back, and they take that offer, and now the home is now pending. So it's very different in this market than when I first started, just with the property values going up, the inventory is very, very low. So you definitely want to make sure that you are financially prepared by either having those 6 months of monthly expenses saved, or you can go into it part time while you're still, working your job. On the other side, I do understand as well if you can't afford to have a transaction coordinator, like you would really need, all of your check, or, you can't afford to pay someone up front at the time for a showing assistant, then you may need to just maneuver through the process the best way that you can. Most of your buyers are going to be, working 9 to 5 or working throughout the day anyway, so they don't really have the availability to show houses, to view a home until after they get off work. So it may work for you to be able to do both. I personally was able to do both. I was a part-time agent when I first, actually no, when I first started, I was full-time. And then, as I said, it took me 10 months. So I had bills and mouths to feed. So I went back to teaching. So yeah, I went back to teaching, and then I went back full-time again. So it's very much possible to do. It did become a bit much. I have actually some clips of that are going to be included in another video about basically how I was juggling both, because I did actually record some days when I was finishing up in class, like on my planning period. Clearly, I was not planning. I mean, of course, I had done everything I needed to do at the time, just in case, any of my former faculty members see this. I had done my work already. I just, also sometimes had to, take care of some contracts, or, straighten some lenders or the agents or whatever I needed to do. Like, I basically did what I needed to do. So it definitely takes in this business. You have to be dedicated. You have to want it. One of my mentors, she always makes a term or reference, you eat what you kill. So it's like, in the terms of, like, how the animals are, whatever, if they don't kill, they don't eat. So if you don't go out and do the work to secure, either a buyer or a seller and get them to the closing table, then you don't eat in this business, point blank, period. All right. So that's the answer to the question is yes, you can be a real estate agent part-time. However, Hopefully, the goal is to only start off part time and eventually transition into full time. Because that is where I promise you, once you transition full time, you will see the transition as far as the money that you're able to make. And it's definitely possible. You can definitely do it full time after transitioning part time. All right, so let's talk about what they don't tell you in real estate school. So after you take that test and you get into the business, you'll soon come to realize and understand that the stuff that's on the test has really nothing to do with the real estate business. And I think I saw a post the other day that was like, I was having a conversation with someone's like, we never really used those calculations that were on the math part of the test. It's only I remember it's like only 3 or 4 questions, 3 or 4 math questions. The total amount of questions I recall, I think it's like 103 or 104, and you need like a 70 or 80. Don't quote me on it to pass, but it's only like it's enough math questions where you can still pass the test without even doing the math questions. But again, I was a math educator. Math was my favorite subject, so for the majority of the math problems weren't an issue for me. But saying all that to say, what they don't tell you in real estate school. So as I mentioned before, if you don't produce, you do not eat. So they also do not tell you that you in the beginning it may take you some time. So you may or may not. It may take you some time to actually see a check, to see a payment. So you have to, and even once you get started and after you get your first check, until your business is consistent, if you're not part time or if you don't have any other means of income coming in, when I first got into the business, I had multiple streams of income. Like I was working, at one point in time, I was working like 3 jobs. Like I kind of I miss it, but then again, I don't. But I had, check coming in from everywhere, including real estate when I had closings as well. So life was good then. Life was good. But that's the other thing also that they don't tell you is you do, just in real estate as a whole, you do need multiple streams of income. This market can be so unpredictable, especially with inflation, with the limited inventory. Everyone's always talking about whether or not the market's going to crash. That my take on that will be in another video. So you just never know. And that's just with life, with anything. So I never recommend putting all your eggs in one basket. Another thing that, so kind of going away from what they don't say, just sort of, these are my suggestions based on my experience. I would say when you're also another common question that I get is about what brokerage to go to. You definitely want to interview with multiple brokerages. And you also, I would say you want to go with a brokerage that in the beginning is a lot that you don't know. So you want to make sure that you get with a brokerage that is heavy on the education so that they have a lot of things and structures in place they have a lot of classes, or they have like, certain requirements for you to learn certain things, because that's going to be very important. When you first get into real estate, the main thing that you want to do is soak up as much education as you can, whether it's through your brokerage. You also want to take courses through whatever association that you're with. I'm with Aura, which is the Orlando Regional Realtor Association. I believe I said that right. You have other local associations, the realtor associations as well, that offers classes. So you definitely want to make sure you take them. You nowadays, we know we're in the day and age of a lot of coaches, and everyone's offering classes. So you have a lot of other experienced agents that are either offering courses, or they're sharing things. So that's another thing that you want to partake in. I personally am also a part of. There's an agent in Atlanta that I have followed for quite some time, since I first got into the business, and she has catapulted her career. Like it's been amazing to watch. So I am a part. She does have a mentorship program. So I am, of course, when she came out with that, I was like, that's a no-brainer. So you also want to get a mentor. So sometimes you have a mentor or a coach that's offered to you through your brokerage, and sometimes you don't, depending on which brokerage that you choose. So that's the other thing too, is aside from having a brokerage that gives you education, you also want to get a mentor, someone that is going to, for one, hold you accountable, someone that is knowledgeable, someone that can give you some things that has worked for them or that has not worked for them in the business, because experience is the best teacher in real estate as well. So that's why I said the test that you take, it has nothing to do with the real estate business as a whole. You're going to learn a lot more just by what they call boots on the ground. Just every transaction is different. Even there's experienced agents that have been in the game for a very long time that are still encountering things that has never happened. Things change. The contracts change. Our last contract change happened, I want to say October of last year. So you have to constantly know what's going on with the contract. So there's always something different to learn. So having a mentor or a coach to help guide you in this business is very, a very good thing to have. And it may cost. The membership or the mentorship program that I'm in, it costs. I pay each month for that faithfully. So you may not be able to start off with doing that in the beginning, but eventually you definitely want to make an investment back into yourself. So they also don't tell you in real estate school basically how to split up when you start getting your commission. So you definitely also want to make sure that you eventually get to a point where you are structuring yourself as a business. Whether you set yourself up as an LLC or a PA, I am not a CPA or legal professional to offer any advice. Me personally, I can only tell you, but based on what I did, I set myself up as a PA, so hence Ashley Brown PA. And basically have myself on payroll, so going through all that things. So you definitely also want to look into it, because when you get into it, you are your own business. As I said, it's commission. So whatever you produce, whatever you do, that's going to determine how profitable you are and how successful you are in this business. So you want to make sure, too, again, that you structure yourself up correctly as a business. You have your mentor, and then you choose a school that is heavy in education. All right, so let's talk about the payment structure. So we've talked about how basically if you don't produce, if you don't sell any houses, um, you basically don't get paid. So how do you get paid? So as a real estate agent, your commission is based off of, if you're on the buying side, it's going to be based off of what the listing agent has already negotiated with the seller to pay. So it's going to be a percentage of the purchase price. So as a buyer's agent, you may see most commonly 3% is normally the like what is supposed to be, what you should be getting. However, over the years, it has changed. Sometimes we see 2.5%, 2%. We start talking about new construction builders. You have some builders that are only paying you 1%, or like a flat fee. There's a builder that's paying $3,500. So, and that's no matter what the price point is. So, yeah. So basically, normally you're paid like a percentage of the purchase price. So the higher, of course, the purchase price, then of course that's the more you're going to make based on that percentage. So if you're on the listing side, however, you are responsible for negotiating what you get paid, as well as what the buying agent, if someone brings a buyer to your listing, gets paid. So, of course, most commonly, it should be 6% that you're negotiating. However, sometimes you see, the 5% or 4%, where on the buying end, you'll see that you're getting 2 or 2.5. So, largely, it is due to the listing agent basically will determine, because they don't have to split it with you evenly. They could decide to do. I've seen, once I've gotten my statement, that the agent on the listing side, if I was a buying agent, got paid more. They may have done a 3-2 split, or a 3-2.5, or a 4-2. I mean, I've seen it all. But that determines how you get paid. And as I said before, the more deals that you have, the more closings, should I say, that you have, that determines how much you make. You can have one closing in a month. You can have 10, 12, however many closings that you want to have in a month. It is completely up to you. So it's completely up to the work that you put in And as you gain the experience, the more you're able to have in what they call your pipeline, which is your um, lead or your buyers or sellers that you have that you'll be planning to do business with. So that is how you get paid in this business. All right. So now we're going to get into what is it like being a real estate agent in this business. So as you've seen on the news, on your social media feed, everything inventory is extremely low. So right now we are experiencing when houses get on the market, if they are in a prime location, the condition of the home looks nice. It is likely multiple offers. The most that I've seen recently, I have a buyer that I was shopping in the condo market for, and we had a home that received 50 offers, and this was just maybe 2 weeks ago. And today is March 23rd, 2022. So 2 weeks ago, there are still houses that are getting 50 offers on it, and this was, of course, this was priced below the $250,000 price point. So it's competitive in all it is competitive in all price points, but there are definitely a higher level of competition in the lower price points because now you're competing against cash buyers. So I recently had a conversation on my Facebook about basically the cash buyers that are beating out those that are simply trying to, provide a primary home for their family or for themselves. They're competing against businesses that are just trying to add to their, rental portfolio because they recognize the profitability in the rental market right now. The rental rates in Central Florida increased. I saw on a previous article about 30%. And I've seen it. I've had so many people, unfortunately, that have reached out to me, and they've expressed that their rent was going up, like these astronomical numbers. And my heart just hurts because unfortunately they are not in a position to purchase a home right now, because also in the real estate market, what kind of we're not seeing anymore or at the moment is sellers, because it's a seller's market. So seller's market means that there's more buyers, there's more. Oh, wow, I messed that up. So the seller's market is, it means, yeah, so it means that we have, I said it right. So it means that we have more buyers on the market than we have homes available. So that means that the sellers are in the driver's seat. They get to call the shots to a certain extent. See, we used to be able to negotiate the sellers to pay some of the closing costs for the buyers, but that is like very slim to none chance of happening. It can still happen. Right now, your highest chances of that happening is with a new construction builder. So you have to be in the price point to even get a brand new home. But yeah, so right now buyers, they have to have the funds. They have to have the funds to purchase a home right now. Now is not the time to rely on any type of assistance or to think that because you're a first time homeowner, something is owed to you as far as money to help you purchase a home. It's not that market. It's not that market. So you have to be prepared to have that tough conversation with your clients and let them know up front. Also, if you're looking to be a listing agent, you have to let your sellers know as well, is although it's a seller's market, you can't just list some crazy price just because you feel as though that's what you just want to sell it for. Your home is going to be sold based on the what the appraiser determines your home is worth, and he or she is going to look at the homes that have sold around it. So you have to also be mindful, if you're going to be on the listing side, to have those tough conversations with your seller and allow them to be realistic as well about the current market that we're in. Yes, it's a seller's market, but unless they have a plethora of offers to choose from, they have to be realistic about the offers that are in front of them, and being able to meet the buyers halfway and work with them. So, and the other thing too, in the current market, it definitely weighs heavily on your mental. It is very stressful in this market right now. At least it can be. just, juggling your different, clients. And if you have a heavy base buyer based client, meaning you have more, you deal with a lot of buyers, it can be tough for those that are in certain price points that are getting beat out by offers. Those that have the ability to go new construction, it's fairly easy to get them into new construction in most cases. So in that aspect, you do have a little bit of leeway. But just things happen throughout the deals. Even in new construction, you have delays, you have appraisals coming back short because these new construction communities are just pricing their homes at whatever number they just feel as though their house is worth. Things happen throughout the transaction. So you have to be, what I've noticed is that a lot of some of the agents that I've been around in my mentorship group is you have to mindset. You have to be focused on making sure you stay in a good mindset. So whether that is, journaling, whether that is, taking part in counseling, like, with a therapist. What are some other things? Exercising is a great way to relieve stress. I haven't been in about a week or so, but I'm trying to get back in there. And what I find when I am in the gym working out, it is definitely a great stress reliever. So you definitely have to, because you have to stay encouraged as well in the market when things go wrong with your deal. You cannot give up. You have to be solution based. So you have to make sure you exhaust all resources and all options available to make sure that your client gets to the closing table. So that's that on the current market. Also, be prepared for your friends and family not to immediately do business with you. You have to realize sometimes in their mind they still see you as working, over here or doing this as a profession. And it purchasing a home is a very big investment. It is, hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're dealing with. You may come across their personal information, even though I kind of had to explain that when it gets to like your personal information, as far as like, bank statements, your pay stubs and things like that, that is between you and the lender. So I am not a lender. I'm a real estate agent. So unless it requires me, sometimes I have to step in and make copies or things like that, forward over to the lender. But you are able to directly send to the lender your personal information where I don't have to be privy to that. So you don't necessarily have to go that route of me seeing your personal information. So I'm assuming sometimes that is what causes your family and friends not to, want to do business directly through you. But I had to learn, seeing others, close or buy a home with someone else. I just had to learn to get out of it. Hey, it happens. It happens. So again, stress the mindset. You have to be strong minded in this business, as well as determined and everything else. So thank you. All right, so that pretty much sums up the requirements, some of the things that I recommend, a couple of things about the education, just pretty much some of the main things that you need to get started if you want to be a real estate agent. And if there's anything that I missed that you have questions about, feel free to ask in the comments below. Please remember to like this video if you found it helpful. Also subscribe to make sure that you're notified and turn on the notifications about any future videos that I am posting, which you should see once a week. So again, my name is Ashley Brown. I'm a Central Florida realtor with La Rosa Realty, downtown Orlando. And I have been in the real estate game for 5 years, and it has been a pleasure. You guys have a blessed day.